Tonight, I got dumped by a very long text message. And I'm heartbroken and petty, so let's hit the highlights. The fact is, you are a very smart, sexy, and kind woman. And yet, for whatever reason, I just haven't had that intuitive spark.
Alright, I have a confession to make. My gibberish translator is still in the intergalactic space shop, so I can't rely on space-age technology to translate this, but I have forwarded a copy to a, shall we say, a diplomat of sorts, who was more than happy to translate this. Good morrow, my fair dear. It is much to my relief to inform you that your position as an itch-scratching bed warmer is no longer needed. As much as I would love to have a chat with you in regards to this subject, I am simply past the point of caring at this current juncture, so I have utilized the convenience of having an AI chatbot to write up an overly long and rather sappy breakup text, to which I will copy and paste directly to you. But do not fret, I'm sure you will find another gentleman who will be more than willing to put up with your lack of humor, your snooty attitude, and your shockingly below sufficient abilities in the bedroom. Rest assured, I will be fine, as I have currently found myself infatuated with a fair maiden whom I met at a toll booth on the New Jersey Turnpike, and I wish to end this communique with a word of thanks, because thanks to you, I have learned that it is simply not worth the effort to learn if the carpet matches the drapes. So fare thee well, though I'm sure you know all too well by this point, I certainly couldn't care less if you did. Ta-ta!
I'm working to make the best choices for me. Even if it hurts someone I care about. Even if part of me questions what I would break something off with someone as terrific as you. I think you are wonderful, and I hope you can let that in.
Good, but I would say it's horrible yet terrible. Ugly yet disgusting. You suck.
Have you ever considered the notion that maybe this guy broke up with you because of your ability to be needlessly petty? You're a pretty famous TikToker who's made a career out of talking smack about men for not scraping the bottom of the dumpster when it comes to their love lives by settling for you, and you're a creature of pure mediocrity, which is the best possible compliment I can muster at this point. So why do you think this particular man, or any other man for that matter, would want to be with you, knowing that the second something goes wrong, you'll immediately decide that the most mature course of action would be to go on the internet and tell an emotionally skewed story to paint this guy in the poorest light as humanly possible? Most men would rather be alone than have to deal with that kind of mean behavior, even if that does mean giving up sporadic access to your slop shoot of infinite burning sensations. It shows a lack of maturity on your part and tells the man that he is not dating a woman, but rather an 8th grader who's trapped in the body of a woman who's in her late 30s.
I know it, your family knows it, dogs know it.
You deserve the world. And a connection that represents that. I hope you find that.
I quit. I quit.
Now, I'm not a doctor, but luckily I identify as a doctor, so I'm gonna go ahead and write you an intergalactic space prescription for boxed wine and some cat food. And just because you are extremely bitter, I'm gonna throw in another one for repeated viewings of Sleepless in Seattle, The Notebook, and Titanic. And we're also gonna throw in a few half gallons of your preferred brand of ice cream as well. Now, for the fullest benefit, I'm also going to suggest that you binge watch these movies while wearing your dirtiest of sweatpants. Feel free to cry your eyes out as much as you want. It's the only real emotion you know how to feel anyway. Now, if you avoid showering, you should be able to get over these feelings in a couple of days once you get back on the dating apps and meet another guy who will use you for a couple of weeks for some bedroom fun until he realizes that you're no longer worth the amount of work it takes to get into those pants that are inexplicably stretching out larger and larger.
How is one better than the other when one wants to use men while the other thinks men are useless?
I wouldn't say that a conservative woman wants to use a man. I want to say they want the man to just fulfill his role, not use, because we're not using you. I mean, if you feel that way, you should just move on. And then, but a liberal, like a feminist woman, I would say, like, that's on them. Like, that's just the way they view men. So.
Wrong! But that's just the thing. Modern women use men. That's the way it is. A lot of these modern women will brag about how they own their own car, pay their own bills, and order their own Chinese takeout and do all of the bare minimum it takes to be an adult in today's society. But ask them what a man should do for them, they expect a man to take over the paying of their bills, buy them a new car, provide them with food and clothes and an expensive house, and oftentimes they'll say that their mere presence is enough compensation in exchange for this. So when you're expecting a man to provide for you and offering them nothing in return except your abuse of those resources, you are, by definition, using the man. And telling men who have been used by women to just move on doesn't exactly paint you in the best of light, sugar. It actually kind of shows that you lack the basic intelligence that's possessed by most golden retrievers.
I don't really necessarily think it's using. I think the first one is obviously better, but I don't think that we're using them. I just think we're utilizing them just as they're utilizing us. We're the only ones that can bring children into the world, so obviously they're going to want to find a companion.
Nobody cares what you think.
Alright, woman, that argument is getting old fast. You can't say that you're a superior being simply because you have a uterus, especially when you make it a point to never use said uterus. Just because you have the ability to give birth doesn't mean that you can use a man without offering anything in return except another mouth to feed. Now, I know that you were educated with a few broken Barbies and half a Slinky. I'm going to go ahead and try to explain this to you without using too many grown-up words. It's going to be pretty difficult, but I feel compelled to give this a shot. You cannot grow a baby inside your belly unless a man gives you a seed to grow that baby. Now, I know that's hard to believe, especially since there isn't a man who wants to breed with you within a 1,000-mile radius of your general direction. Just because you're able to poop out a baby doesn't mean you're allowed to drain a man of his money, his energy, and his general hope for the future.
What's the difference between using and utilizing?
I don't know, maybe they mean the same thing. I just feel like when you say using, it kind of just means like there's no benefit for that other person, but when you're utilizing each other, it's just a mutual agreement that one can do things that the other one can't, and you guys just agree that it just makes your life better.
Wow, that's fantastic work, man. You have the wisdom of a 6,000 or 7,000-year-old man. That's fantastic. We don't have to fill up the whole blackboard after all.
Well, congratulations! You were able to figure out a basic definition of relationships, and I would agree with you if this was the case for modern relationships, but that's not what we're seeing. Modern women, thanks to the societal taint known as social media, are parroting this notion that it's totally acceptable to use men for finances, security, and pleasure without offering anything in return. Now, contrary to popular belief, men are not cash-dispensing gigolo butler cops, and I'm pretty sure that would make a pretty awesome movie, but that's not the point. A man is willing to offer all of these things if a woman brings peace into his life. But we've come to a point where most women think that that is asking way too much because there are too many men in the coal mining industry or some such nonsense. So it's really no wonder why men aren't interested anymore, because there isn't a self-respecting man out there who wants to willingly attach themselves to a vile leech that's simply not sanitary.
Ew. What a mess. Ew. Ew. Ew.
I ruined my mum's marriage. I never planned on telling this story on TikTok, but here we are. So when I first started my website, I had this customer who was my #1 customer, bought every single thing that I sent him. He was pretty much a follower since the beginning. We would talk every day. He made custom requests, very, very specific things, and he also had a very specific username on the website.
That's why I praise the Lord for prostitutes.
If there's one thing that these online streetwalkers cannot possibly comprehend, it's the collateral damage that's caused thanks to their desire to completely destroy their lives by selling their bodies online for the low price of $5 a month. They simply cannot comprehend the idea that their lack of intelligent decision-making skills will affect their family, their friends, not to mention their personal lives. Nope, they are too distracted by all of the shiny things they'll be able to buy with the money they're getting from simps and lonely men. And when something catastrophic does happen, say, I don't know, ruining your mother's marriage, they will completely violate the privacy of their family and air out that dirty laundry without any remorse or shame, because they have already convinced themselves that they are victims because society won't accept them for the entitled lazy harlots that they truly are.
2 months in, this person had spent around 2,000 Australian dollars on the site, and I had someone view my TikTok page with the exact same username, and underneath that it said, "From your contacts." I went absolutely mental trying to figure out who this person was from my contacts. I narrowed it down to 6 people, and one of them was my stepdad.
Oh, that's not right. No.
Yeah, that's pretty gross, and this is the sad reality of adult content. Families are broken up, perversions are on the rise, and massive amounts of trust are violated simply due to this industry, and it's something that is completely ignored in today's society simply because there are tons of women out there who think that this garbage is empowering. It's not. All it does is sow mistrust and disappointment among families. It causes endless amounts of trauma and further damages a woman's ability to romantically bond with men because no self-respecting man wants a woman who does that for a living. And the sad part is this used to be common knowledge, but women like this have grown so stupid that they cannot comprehend a man not wanting a woman who has been railed by countless others.
I went with my gut feeling and I messaged the website account and I said, I know who this is, and within 2 minutes got a text from my stepdad saying, hey Tay, can we talk?
That's why I say prostitutes, prostitutes.
You know what, I'm gonna be honest, I would actually feel some sympathy for this woman if it wasn't for the fact that she had no idea that her stepfather was the one spending money on her content. Now, if this man had caused her some legitimate trauma when she was a child, then that would be one thing. But when you take a look at her painfully bland face and you can just tell that's not what happened. Woman, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you went on to do a normal person job. One that didn't involve you showing your painfully average body to simps who live in their mother's basements. Do you think your stepfather would have ever considered trying to get nude photos of you? I would be so bold to say probably not. But you left that door wide open and he walked right in. And you're sitting there with your smug little grin thinking that you're some kind of sly detective. But in reality, all you have done is completely destroy the life of your own mother. And you did it for a whopping $5 a month. So not only are you a prostitute, you are a cheap one at that. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. As always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button and ring the notification bell so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. And once again, thank you for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.